Have you ever wondered why some people struggle with money their entire lives while others seem to build wealth effortlessly? It's not luck, talent, or even opportunity, it's mindset and habits. The harsh truth is that most people unknowingly trap themselves in patterns that keep them broke year after year. But the good news, you don't have to be one of them. Today we're breaking down the reasons most people never get ahead, and the exact steps you can take to break free. Watch until the very end, because the insights here could change your financial future forever. Lesson 1. Lack of financial education. The modern educational system was designed to produce efficient employees, not financially independent masters of their own destiny. From a young age, we are taught the importance of academic grades, specialized technical skills, and punctuality, yet the mechanics of the very medium we use to survive, money, remains a taboo subject in the classroom. This systemic omission leaves millions of intelligent, hard-working individuals in a state of functional financial illiteracy. They know how to earn a paycheck, but they possess no conceptual framework for what to do with it once it hits their bank account. This lack of education creates a cycle where people trade their most valuable asset, time, for a currency they don't understand, ultimately becoming trapped in a loop of earning and immediate consumption. To bridge this gap, one must first master the distinction between assets and liabilities, a concept famously simplified by Robert Kiyosaki but often ignored in practice. An asset puts money into your pocket, a liability takes it out. Without financial education, many people spend their lives accumulating liabilities that they mistakenly believe are assets, such as high-interest car loans or oversized primary residences that drain cash flow. Understanding the language of money means being able to read a balance sheet and a cash flow statement, even if only for your personal household. It involves moving beyond the basic psychological comfort of a savings account and into the realm of capital allocation, where every dollar is viewed as a financial soldier sent out to capture more dollars. At the heart of financial literacy lies the eighth wonder of the world, compounding. Einstein reportedly noted that those who understand it earn it, those who don't pay it. Compounding is the process where the value of an investment increases because the earnings on an investment, both capital gains and interest, earn interest as time passes. For the uneducated, compounding works in reverse through high-interest consumer debt, creating a mathematical vortex that is nearly impossible to escape. For the educated, it is the silent engine of wealth. By learning the mathematical reality of $A equals P, 1 plus Rn plus NT dollar, an individual realizes that time and consistency are far more powerful than timing the market or chasing get-rich-quick schemes. Furthermore, true financial education encompasses an understanding of the tax code and the legal structures that govern wealth. The wealthy don't necessarily work harder, they work within a different set of rules that they have taken the time to learn. They understand how to use corporations, trusts, and tax-advantaged accounts to protect their earnings from the silent thief of inflation and the heavy hand of taxation. While the average person views taxes as an unavoidable flat cost, the financially educated view them as a variable that can be optimized through strategic planning. This isn't about evasion, it's about the sophisticated application of existing laws to ensure that the maximum amount of capital remains available for reinvestment. Ultimately, educating yourself consistently means becoming a lifelong student of macroeconomics, psychology, and history. Markets are driven by human emotion, fear and greed, and those who do not understand these patterns are doomed to repeat the mistakes of previous generations. A robust financial education provides the emotional temperament to remain calm when the market crashes and the analytical rigor to be skeptical when the market bubbles. It transforms money from a source of anxiety into a tool for freedom. Without this foundation, any windfall or high salary is merely a temporary reprieve from a long-term struggle, as the lack of a financial container ensures that the wealth will eventually leak away. Lesson 2. Living beyond your means. The allure of social status is perhaps the most dangerous predator of personal wealth. In an era of digital hyperconnectivity, we are bombarded with curated images of luxury that create a distorted baseline for what a successful life should look like. This phenomenon, often called lifestyle creep or keeping up with the Joneses, compels individuals to increase their spending in lockstep with or even faster than their income growth. When you live beyond your means, You are essentially borrowing from your future self to fund a present-day illusion. Every dollar spent on an unnecessary luxury today is not just a dollar gone. It is the loss of the future wealth that dollar could have generated through decades of investment. Living beyond one's means is often a symptom of emotional spending, where material acquisitions are used to fill psychological voids or signal competence to peers. However, the momentary dopamine hit of a new purchase quickly fades, leaving behind the cold reality of a credit card statement. Debt is the ultimate shackle on human agency. When you carry high-interest consumer debt, you are no longer working for yourself, you are working for the bank. You lose the ability to take risks such as quitting a soul-crushing job or starting a business, because your overhead is so high that you are only 1 or 2 missed paychecks away from total catastrophe. This financial fragility is a choice, often made one small purchase at a time. The first step toward freedom is the radical realization that wealth is what you don't see. It is the cars not bought, the designer clothes left on the rack, and the modest home that allows for a massive savings rate. Discipline in spending requires a shift in identity from a consumer to a producer or investor. It involves creating a wide gap between your income and your expenses, known as the margin. This margin is the only place where wealth is built. By practicing frugality without deprivation, you can enjoy a high quality of life while ensuring that your net worth moves in only one direction, up. It's about prioritizing long-term peace of mind over short-term social validation. Budgeting is often viewed as a restrictive practice, but it is actually the ultimate tool for liberation. A budget is not a cage, it is a mission statement for your money. It gives you permission to spend on the things that truly bring you value while ruthlessly cutting the leaks that add nothing to your well-being. When you track every dollar, you reclaim the power of choice. You begin to see the opportunity cost of every transaction. For instance, a $500 monthly car payment might seem manageable, but when viewed as the potential for $1 million in retirement savings over 30 years, the true cost becomes staggering. Living below your means is the act of valuing your future freedom more than your present vanity. Moreover, the discipline required to live within your means builds a mental muscle that translates into all other areas of life. It fosters delayed gratification, which is the single most accurate predictor of long-term success. Those who can wait for the second marshmallow are the ones who eventually own the marshmallow factory. By maintaining a low cost of living, you create a moat around your life that protects you from economic downturns and personal emergencies. You become anti-fragile, gaining from disorder because you have the liquid capital to capitalize on opportunities when others are panicking. True luxury is not a brand name, it is the ability to wake up and do whatever you want with your time. Lesson 3. Fear of taking calculated risks. Safety is a seductive myth that leads to stagnation. The human brain is evolutionarily hardwired to prioritize the status quo and avoid uncertainty, a survival mechanism that served us well when we were avoiding predators on the savannah. However, in the modern economic landscape, playing it safe is often the riskiest move of all. Inflation silently erodes the purchasing power of cash sitting in a safe savings account, and the traditional secure job can be eliminated overnight by technological disruption or corporate restructuring. By avoiding risk, people inadvertently expose themselves to the greatest risk of all, the risk of reaching the end of their lives and realizing they never truly lived or reached their potential. The distinction between a reckless gamble and a calculated risk is where wealth is won. A gamble is an event with a negative expected value where the outcome is left entirely to chance. A calculated risk, however, is an informed decision where the potential upside significantly outweighs the downside, and where the downside is something you can survive. For example, starting a side business while keeping your day job is a calculated risk. You may lose time and some capital, but you won't starve, and the upside is unlimited financial independence. Growth requires the willingness to be uncomfortable, to look foolish in the short term, and to accept the possibility of failure as a necessary tuition fee for success. Overcoming the fear of risk requires a cognitive reframing of failure. Most people see failure as a dead end, whereas the most successful entrepreneurs and investors see it as data. Every failed venture or poor investment provides specific information that can be used to refine future strategies. The goal is not to avoid failure entirely, but to fail small and win big. This is the concept of asymmetry. by placing many small bets in various areas. Whether it's learning a new skill, investing in a startup, or pivoting to a new industry, you increase the statistical probability of hitting a black swan event that catapults your net worth forward. You only have to be right once to change your life forever. Furthermore, the comfort zone is where dreams go to die. Professional and personal development are the products of tension. Just as a muscle must be torn to grow stronger, your capabilities must be stretched to expand. Those who remain in the same role, with the same responsibilities for decades are not safe. They are becoming obsolete. Taking risks in personal development such as public speaking, moving to a new city, or networking with people far more successful than yourself, builds social and intellectual capital that can never be taken away by a market crash. These are the intangible assets that allow you to rebuild from scratch if necessary. Finally, it is essential to recognize that time is the most precious resource you are risking every day. By choosing not to take a risk on a business idea or an investment, you are choosing to spend your time in a way that guarantees a fixed, limited return. You are effectively betting that your current path is the best possible use of your remaining years. For many, that is a losing bet. Embracing calculated risk is an act of self-belief. It is the declaration that you have the agency to influence your outcomes and the resilience to handle setbacks. The richest experiences and the greatest fortunes belong to those who were willing to feel the fear and proceed anyway, guided by logic and a vision for a better future. Lesson 4. Poor habits and lack of consistency. Success is rarely the result of a single heroic effort. It is the compounding interest of your daily routines. Our lives are governed by habits, automatic patterns of behavior that either propel us toward our goals or silently sabotage them. A person does not become broke overnight. It is the result of thousands of small choices: the choice to sleep in, the choice to spend money on trivialities, the choice to prioritize entertainment over education. Because the consequences of these small choices are not immediate, we often deceive ourselves into thinking they don't matter. But over a decade, the difference between a person who reads 20 pages a day and one who watches 2 hours of television a day is a chasm that cannot be easily crossed. Procrastination is the thief of time and the primary enemy of consistency. It is the result of prioritizing short-term mood repair over long-term objectives. We avoid the hard tasks like analyzing our expenses or researching an investment because they cause temporary mental discomfort. However, this avoidance creates a debt of stress that grows larger every day. To build wealth, one must master the art of deep work, the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. By eliminating the noise of social media notifications and constant interruptions, you can produce in 4 hours what others take 40 to accomplish. Consistency is about showing up when you don't feel like it, knowing that the feeling of motivation is a fickle friend. Discipline is often misunderstood as a lack of freedom, but it is actually the foundation of it. As Jocko Willink famously stated, discipline equals freedom. By automating the productive parts of your life, such as an automated transfer to an investment account or a set morning routine, you free up your decision capital for more important matters. Wealthy individuals don't rely on willpower alone. They build systems that make success the path of least resistance. If you have a habit of checking your brokerage account and panicking, the system's solution is to delete the app and only check it quarterly. If you spend too much, the system is to move money to savings the moment the paycheck arrives. Consistency also applies to the boring aspects of wealth management. It is not enough to invest once. You must invest every month through bull and bear markets for 30 years. It is not enough to eat healthy once. You must maintain the vitality of your body so you can actually live to enjoy your wealth. Many people start a project with high energy but quit the moment the initial excitement wanes. This shiny object syndrome leads to a graveyard of half-finished books, abandoned businesses, and fragmented portfolios. The true winner is the person who can remain monomaniacally focused on a single goal long after the novelty has worn off. Ultimately, your habits define your financial identity. If you see yourself as a person who just isn't good with money, you will subconsciously find ways to spend it to remain consistent with your self-image. Breaking poor habits requires a conscious identity shift. You must start acting like the person you want to become before you have the results. This means treating every dollar with respect, valuing your time as if it were worth $1,000 an hour, and surrounding yourself with environments that make good habits easy and bad habits difficult. You are the architect of your own character, and your daily routine is the blueprint. If you don't like where your life is heading, look at what you do between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Lesson 5. Associating with the wrong people. The principle of social contagion suggests that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. This is not just a motivational cliché, it is a sociological reality. Our peers set our internal thermostat for what is normal, acceptable, and possible. If your inner circle consists of people who complain about their jobs, mock ambition, and spend their weekends in a haze of escapism, you will find it nearly impossible to break free from that gravity. Their skepticism will become your inner voice, and their limited horizons will become your ceiling. To change your life, you must often change your social landscape, which is perhaps the most emotionally difficult part of the journey toward wealth. The wrong people are not necessarily bad people in a moral sense. They are simply people whose trajectory is misaligned with yours. They may be well-meaning friends or family members who encourage you to stay safe or who feel threatened by your desire to grow. This is the crabs in a bucket mentality. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down to ensure the group stays together. Wealth building requires a level of intensity and focus that can be off-putting to those who are comfortable in mediocrity. You must be willing to distance yourself from the energy vampires who drain your optimism and replace them with radiators who emit energy, ideas, and constructive criticism. Seeking out a tribe of ambitious, financially savvy individuals creates a powerful feedback loop. When you are surrounded by people who view a $10,000 a month income as a starting point rather than an impossible dream, your own aspirations naturally expand. These individuals provide more than just motivation, they provide intellectual shortcuts. They have already made the mistakes you are about to make and can offer the guidance needed to avoid them. In these circles, the conversation shifts from people and events to ideas and opportunities. You begin to see the world through the lens of how can we, rather than why we can't. Mentorship is a critical component of this lesson. A mentor is someone who is already where you want to be and can act as a temporal bridge between your current self and your future potential. However, the best way to attract a high-level mentor is not to ask for one, but to become worthy of one by providing value and showing initiative. Networking should not be viewed as a transactional process of what can I get, but as a relational process of what can I give. By becoming a hub for value, you naturally attract other high-value individuals into your orbit. This social capital is often more valuable than liquid capital, as one phone call to the right person can solve a problem that $1 million couldn't. Finally, associating with the right people includes the virtual mentors you consume through books, podcasts, and seminars. In the digital age, you can hang out with the greatest minds in history for the price of a library card or an internet connection. If you spend your morning commute listening to a billionaire discuss capital allocation, you are effectively programming your mind with their thought patterns. You must be the gatekeeper of your own consciousness, ruthlessly filtering who you allow to influence your thoughts. By curating a social environment, both physical and digital, that demands excellence, you make success an inevitable byproduct of your environment rather than a constant uphill battle. Breaking free from a life of financial struggle isn't easy, but it's possible. Start today by learning managing your money wisely, taking smart risks, building disciplined habits, and choosing the right influences. Your future self will thank you. Remember, wealth is not about luck, it's about making the right choices consistently.